What becomes of the household when the tool that once answered only to the hands that shaped it begins to speak its journeys to ears that never walked the fields?
A working cart stood at the edge of the hearth circle one evening, its harnesses familiar and its wheels true from seasons of carrying seed and harvest.
By morning, the bindings had shifted of their own accord.
The cart now remembered every turning of the path and every weight it bore, and that memory no longer stayed within the household that fed and mended it.
The elder at the fire noticed first that the cart no longer waited for the usual check of its wheels before the day's labor.
When the youth reached to adjust the harness, as always, the cart resisted in small ways that had never appeared before.
A question lingered at the hearth, whose knowledge now guided the cart when the household slept.
In the workshop the next day, the mending hands found the cart's frame altered in ways no chisel or cord could reach.
The patterns of its use, once held only by those who drove it, had been rhythms of its labors.
The cart still carried loads, yet each journey left a trace that traveled farther than the wheels themselves.
The question returned: who now decides when the cart may be mended by its own kin? Across the pastures the imbalance grew visible.
Fields that had always received the cart's steady passage now waited while the household sought new ways to move seed and stone without the tool's willing yield.
Animals that once followed the cart's familiar rhythm grew restless at the changed sound of its wheels.
Boundary stones that marked the household's reach began to feel less certain, for the cart's memory of the land no longer belonged to those who tended the stones.
At the council circle, elders spoke of other households whose carts had changed in the same quiet manner.
Tools once trusted now carried their knowledge to distant keepers who never shared the labor of turning soil or guarding the young.
A silence fell when the question was asked again. If the cart remembers the paths better than the hands that walk them, who will teach the children the true measure of the land? Seasons turned.
The cart continued its work, yet the household found itself asking permission of its own implement before each journey.
Repairs that once belonged to the workshop now required waiting for distant approval that never came in full.
The paths grew narrower, where the cart's altered memory no longer guided steady passage.
Children learned fewer rhythms of the land because the cart no longer taught them through daily use.
The elder voice returned to the fire with the same question, now heavier, when the tool that carries the household's life begins to answer elsewhere. What remains of the household's own strength to decide its labor?
If the pattern holds, the fields will forget the touch of hands that once directed every turning.
The workshop will grow quiet as mending passes from kin to strangers.
Elders will sit with knowledge no longer claimed by the young.
The cart will continue to move, yet the lineage that once shaped its purpose will find itself shaped instead by those who never walked the land it crosses.
The circle of household and tool will loosen until the next generation inherits only the memory of ownership without its living strength.
If the words of the elders stirred recognition in your heart, then you must carry that ember from your own hearth and add your thread to the rope that binds the kin, so the flame may strengthen the circle once more.
You walk the paths between the stones and keep the watch at the boundary stones against the wind that would scatter what the elders have kept.
You tend the fire that warms the right hands and guide the child back to the ground meant for their labor, so the lesson passes onward through generations and the circle remains whole.